Well, I'm about ready to come back on here. I got 5 minutes in this segment, DeShawne. If you can do a little bit longer after about a 2-minute break, then that's great. If you can't, I understand. But anyway, let's get on and do this.
Okay.
Well, yesterday, I, Marky Billson, talked to Keith Jennings, who I think most people would say the greatest male player in the history of ETSU basketball. You'll get maybe a few arguments with Skeeter Swift or something. It's always subjective. But there'd be fewer arguments that DeShawne Blocker, in my opinion, is the greatest player in the history of the Lady Bucks women's basketball program. She was one of the leading scorers in the country back in 1995 when she led ETSU to, I think it was the very first postseason appearance the women's basketball team ever had, and that was the 1995 WNIT. You all traveled to Texas and all. Now with the ETSU playing James Madison tonight in the WNIT, it's great to touch base again with DeShawne Blocker, who many also remember as a longtime assistant coach under Karen Kemp. DeShawne, it's great to reunite. We used to have classes together at ETSU, if you can recall that, and so it's a lot of fun to make the reconnection. And I guess the first question I want to ask is, going back, you're very much a historic figure in the history of this program, but the changes in the WNIT. It seems to be a bigger field now. They're playing on campus sites. When we go back to when you were playing in the WNIT back in '95, what are some of the biggest changes that you see from then and now?
Well, what I remember, we had to wait. Actually, we ran right into our spring break, and I recall Karen Kemp saying, well, your playing days may not be over because we may be able to play in the women's NIT tournament. We have to just be on standby and wait for, I guess, the tournament gods to decide whether or not we would be invited to that particular tournament. And I can recall leaving campus and going to Atlanta, and just as soon as I touched ground in Atlanta, I got a call saying I needed to be back for practice. That was a blessing because I wasn't ready to give up my playing days at representing ETSU. Certainly, I would have wanted to go to the NCAA tournament, but I guess it wasn't in his plan for us to go. But we at least got a chance to play in the women's NIT, and boy, did we have a ball. I mean, they wasn't regionalized. I think at that time, we just had one location, and we flew out to Amarillo.
That's right, and I remember the games were broadcast locally on the radio. I remember actually at the time I was a broadcasting student. We had the student TV station, and we were actually all around listening to your games in the WNIT, I can recall, so that we could have the report on, it was called Live at 5 in the campus TV station at the time. And all this, just to give you an example, DeShawne Blocker was, I believe, the first player in ETSU history to score 2,000 points, 2,086. You were one of the, your senior year, you were one of the top 5 scorers, I believe, in the country. And you were a 2-time Southern Conference Player of the Year. And it really started immediately. I'm reading your accolades here, starting off as the conference freshman of the year and finishing as the female athlete of the year. So that should tell you a little bit. I mean, you were a finalist, I believe, or one of the candidates for the Player of the Year award in all of college basketball. So, we're talking to a pretty high-ranking player here. Now, I want to finish. I got about a minute and a half here to ask you. I know you played overseas, but at the time that you graduated, the WNBA was starting, and there was also another women's league that was out there. I wanted to ask you about your pro career, where you went immediately after ETSU.
Well, let's back up a bit because WNBA and the ABL did not come along until about 3 years after my playing career. So I didn't have an opportunity to even be considered for such a fine league. But directly after finishing at ETSU, the first country I played for was in Spain. I was on the island of Canary Islands, and I represented the team Sandra, which was a milk that was our sponsor. And I spent time on that island and traveling to the mainland, to the many different cities of Barcelona. We went to, oh my gosh, I just drew a blank.
Madrid would be there and such, I would imagine. Yeah. Anyway, don't ask me about all the Spanish cities either. I mean, Barcelona, Madrid, yeah, I kind of got to know those. I remember there used to be a football team in Barcelona. Hey, I'm 10 seconds away from a hard break, so let me take a break here and we'll continue. Talk a little bit about the WNIT. ETSU is in it now. They were in it in 95 with our guest, DeShawne Blocker.